Have you ever wondered how some people can get a yes from almost anyone without forcing or manipulating them? They don't pressure people, yet others still agree with them. In this audiobook, you'll learn 6 powerful psychological techniques that can help you get people to say yes naturally. Chapter 1. Don't just understand the problem, understand the person. What's the biggest mistake people make? They think that to win a negotiation, argument, or discussion, they need to attack the problem directly. But the truth is, the problem is rarely the real issue. The real issue is the person. Every day, people make the same mistake. They fight over facts, argue with logic, and try hard to prove their point. But why doesn't the other person agree? Because humans don't make decisions with logic alone. They make them through emotion. Remember this. Every person has 3 hidden things inside them: needs, fears, and desires. If you don't understand these, you're basically talking to a wall. Think about it. When someone says no, is it really because they dislike your idea? Or are they afraid? Maybe they don't trust you. Maybe they have a hidden desire that isn't being fulfilled. This is the difference between average people and powerful communicators. Average people say, "You're wrong, listen to me, this is the right way." And the result? The other person becomes even more resistant. But smart people stay quiet. They observe. They study the person, because they know if you fight the person, you lose the argument. But if you understand the person, you win everything. Here's a brutal truth. People don't care about your point as much as they care about their own feelings. They don't want to feel corrected, they want to feel understood. The moment you make someone feel, "I understand you," their guard starts to drop. And that's where influence begins. Now take this to the next level. Every person already has a story in their mind, their reality, beliefs, and perspective. If you ignore that story, you'll never convince them. But if you enter their story, see things from their side, and speak their language, suddenly, they begin to see you as one of their own. And that is real power. For example, someone is angry, and you respond with logic. You're pouring gasoline on a fire. But if you say, "I understand why you feel this way," their emotions begin to calm down. Then they start listening. And now, your words can actually have an effect. Remember this communication rule. First connect, then correct. If there's no connection, even your correct words will sound wrong. So apply this in life. The next time someone disagrees with you, don't argue. Ask yourself, what's going on in this person's mind? What do they need? What are they afraid of? What do they truly desire? The moment these become clear, the game shifts into your control. First understand the other person, then present your point. Because the person who understands people can influence the world, while the one who only keeps talking will always be ignored. If you learn this skill, you won't just win conversations, you'll win trust. And trust is real power. People's words are not the full truth. They're only the surface. The real story is hidden underneath. That's the biggest mistake people make. They focus on words, not meaning. Every person has 2 layers. Position, what they say. Interest, what they truly want. People who only fight over positions always lose. Here's another brutal truth. Arguments don't solve problems. They only satisfy ego. The moment you say, "No, you're wrong, this is the right way," the other person becomes even more defensive. Now, it's no longer about finding a solution, it's about protecting ego. For example, someone says, "I don't want this deal." An average person immediately starts convincing, "This is the best option. You don't understand." But a smart person pauses and asks, "Why do you feel that way?" That's where the game changes. Because now, you're moving below the surface. You're trying to understand their real interest. Maybe the issue is price, trust, or value. But until you ask, you'll never know the truth. Remember, positions are rigid. Interests are flexible. A position says, "I don't want this." An interest says, "I want something better." And negotiations are one where flexibility exists. Once you understand the real interest, finding a solution becomes easy. You can offer exactly what the other person truly wants. And then you won't need to convince them, they'll say yes on their own. Here's a powerful mindset shift. When someone says, "No, Don't see it as rejection. See it as a signal that you haven't understood their interest yet. Ask smart questions. What's important to you? What kind of solution are you looking for? What concerns you about this? These small questions open up the other person's mind. And remember, the person who talks the most loses control. The person who listens the most gains control. Final punchline. If you fight positions, the battle never ends. But if you understand interests, the solution appears naturally. So next time, don't argue. Don't try to prove yourself. Just try to understand. Because the person who understands why can hear yes in every situation. Chapter 2. Create win-win situations. If you win and the other person loses, then in reality, you've lost too. Why? Because every deal and conversation has a long-term impact. Temporary victories are easy, but lasting respect, trust, and influence only come from win-win situations. Here's another brutal truth. People hate losing, and if they feel defeated, they'll either break the deal or secretly resent you. Such people never become loyal. Smart people don't focus on winning. They focus on balance. They search for solutions where both sides benefit, where both people feel, yes, this works for me too. That's what win-win means. If you only focus on your own benefit, the other person becomes defensive. The negotiation turns into a fight. But when you think, what do I want? And what does the other person want? Then everything changes. Remember this formula. What I want plus what they want equals the perfect deal. For example, you want a higher price. The other person wants a lower price. If both sides stay stuck on their positions, the deal dies. But if you understand interests, maybe they need flexibility, extra value, or trust, then you can adjust the offer, add benefits, and suddenly, both sides feel satisfied. That's smart negotiation. Another mindset shift. The goal of negotiation is not, I win. The goal is, we both win. Because when both people win, relationships become stronger, trust grows, future opportunities open, and most importantly, people want to work with you again. That's long-term power. Greedy people win in the short term. Smart people play the long-term game. Greedy mindset. I want everything. Smart mindset. I want enough so both sides can win. And remember, win-win doesn't mean weakness or compromise. It means finding intelligent solutions that satisfy both sides without ego, pressure, or conflict. If only you win, the victory is temporary. But if both sides win, the victory becomes powerful. So next time, don't think only about yourself. Let the other person win too. Because the person who creates win-win situations succeeds in every deal, relationship, and situation. Chapter 3. Control emotions. Negotiations are not won with logic. They're won with emotions. This sounds simple, but once you truly understand it, you can control almost any conversation. Here's a brutal truth. When you're angry, you're not thinking, you're reacting. And reactions usually lead in the wrong direction. Anger destroys clarity. It damages judgment. It makes you weak. Yes, weak. Because in that moment, you become a slave to your emotions. And in negotiation, the person who cannot control themselves can never control the situation. Think about it. If the other person is calm and you're emotional, who has the power? Obviously, they do. Rule. If you're angry, you've already lost. But controlling yourself isn't enough. You must also manage the emotions of the other person. If they become angry and you react emotionally too, the situation explodes and the deal dies. But if you stay calm, the entire energy changes. Emotions are contagious. Calmness spreads too. And once emotions settle down, logic returns and real negotiation begins. A powerful technique. When someone is emotional, don't interrupt them. Don't argue. Just listen and say, I understand why you feel that way. This simple sentence lowers resistance, calms ego, and makes them feel understood. And the moment people feel understood, their guard comes down, and they become ready to listen. Remember, negotiation is won through feelings, not facts. If you ignore emotions, people will reject your message no matter how correct you are. But if you master emotions, You can guide situations in your favor even when you're imperfect. A calm mind creates powerful decisions. Because a calm mind thinks clearly, makes smart decisions, controls the situation. So next time you're in a discussion or negotiation, control yourself first. Calm the other person, then watch the game move in your favor, because the person who masters emotions can win in any situation. Chapter 4. Influence smartly. Being direct is easy, but it's not effective. When you say, "Do this," what does the other person feel? Pressure, control, resistance. Here's a brutal truth. People hate being controlled. They want freedom and choice. The moment people feel pressured, their mind enters resistance mode. Psychologists call this psychological reactance. The more you push, the more they resist. Rule: force equals resistance. Choice equals comfort. If you say, "You have to do this," the other person thinks, "Why should I? This person is trying to control me." And that's where conflict begins. But if you say, "You could try this," or "This is another option if you'd like," the person feels relaxed. They feel in control. And when people feel in control, they open up. And only when people open up do they say yes. People love choosing between options. They hate being forced. Smart people don't impose decisions, they design options. They create an environment where the other person chooses willingly, even though the direction remains the same. That's hidden influence. For example, instead of, "You must do this," say, "You could do this," or if you prefer, there's another option too. Result: comfort plus control plus yes. But remember, giving choices doesn't mean creating confusion. Give 2 or 3 clear options. Enough for freedom, but not enough to overwhelm. The moment people feel, "I chose this myself," they become committed to the decision. Because people defend, justify, and follow their own decisions. Real power is not forcing people. Real power is making people feel the decision was theirs. Pressure pushes people away. Choice brings people closer. So next time you want to convince someone, don't push, don't force, just provide options, and watch how people naturally move toward you. Because the person who learns to give choices can hear yes without pressure. Final message: real power is not forcing people to obey you. Real power is making people willingly agree with you. Respect plus understanding plus smart communication equals true influence. If you apply these techniques, you won't just make people say yes. You'll build strong relationships and move ahead in life.